Hello and welcome back. Steuben here, and today we're going to take a look at a deck that got 27th place in the Kyoto Champions League this last weekend that no one's talked about really. They went a 11-3 with this, and it's a Hisuian Goodra VSTAR deck, but it's the Lost Engine Hisuian Goodra VSTAR deck, and I think it's a little bit better than people are giving it credit for compared to playing it with like Arceus, which is just a little bit too slow. So yeah, let's take a look at this, but also don't forget, before we start, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Pokemon TCG content, as well as whatever else the world may bring us to do. But yeah, without further ado, let's get started. We are rocking a 3-3 line of the Goodra V and V-Star. We will start with the V. Here it is, 220 HP, have 2 attacks, Slip and Trip for 60 for a Metal and a Water. Your opponent switches their active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon, and the second attack, Rolling Shell, for a Water, a Metal, and a colorless. It does 140, and during your opponent's next turn, it takes 30 less damage from attacks. So yeah, we have got 3 of those, and 3 of the V-Star, 270 HP on this thing, so, you know, just 10 less of the magic number. But the attack, Rolling Iron, for a Water, a Metal, and a color, so it does 200, and you take 80 less damage from attacks during your opponent's next turn. Theoretically, if you have full HP, you have 350 HP. So the only thing they can really get there is Yveltal, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And the V-Star power, Moisture Star, during your turn, you can heal all damage from this Pokemon. So that's your V-Star power. So it's basically just get this thing set up and just start tanking hits and attacks. Continuing on, we've got 4 copies of Comfey. For the flower selecting, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put 1 in your hand and 1 in the Lost Zone. And then, you know, your attack's never going to happen. You get 70 HP, 1 retreat. The retreat matters here, so you will be able to retreat. But we're also playing a lot of other maneuverability cards to be able to get as many cards into the Lost Zone as possible to get to the magic number of 7 to fulfill the energy cost of Hisuian Goodra with Mirage Gate, which we'll get to. And of course, with the Lost Engine, we have a single copy of Kramer in here with Lost Provisions. If you have 4 or more in the Lost Zone, you can attack for free, and you just do 110 with Spit Innocently, and it's not affected by weakness, so keep that in mind. Next in line, we've got a Radiant Greninja. We are playing Water Energy due to the attack cost of Goodra. In addition to that, Concealed Cards is really good. Discard energy, draw 2 cards. And yes, Moonlight Shuriken for 2 water and a colorless. You do 90 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon when you discard 2 energy attached to it. So this thing's really strong. In Lost Box matches, you can just start bodying other Comfeys if they don't get down a Manaphy. Almost done with the Pokemon here. We have 1 copy of Drapion V. Mew is a problematic piece here, and also Mewtwo V Union is also a problem, so Drapion can just kind of come in and clean that up. The ability Wild Style reduces the attack cost for every Rapid Strike, Single Strike, or Fusion Strike Pokemon in play, and then normally it would take 4 colorless energy to do 190 with Dynamic Tail, and you hurt one of your Pokemon for 60, but you can just also use the Mirage Gates to get this loaded up if they're not playing a style Pokemon. Last but not second least, we have a Lumineon V for the ability Luminous Sign. When you play it down, you can search your deck for a supporter. So this is going to grab your Colress, your Boss, your Research, Roxanne, Raihan, whatever you're missing. And you can attack with Aqua Return for a Water and 2 colorless for 120. Shuffle this Pokemon and all cards attached to it back into the deck. So you can just gate onto it and then slap in for 120 over a single prize, or go back into the deck and just promote your Goodra. Bada boom, bada bing. And the last Pokemon is a Galarian Zigzagoon. And yes, I know this is a Japanese card. I just wanted to see what the silver border mixed in with the rest of the cards kind of looks like, and I don't think it's as awful as we're thinking it's going to be, unless the entire deck mismatches or not. But also, you know, it's a Japanese card. I can't play with these. I have English ones. They're just in other decks. If you saw the Eternatus video from a couple days ago, the shiny ones are in there. I didn't feel like moving them back and forth. We all know what this does. When you place it from your hand to your bench, you put 1 damage counter on one of your opponent's Pokemon. So this just helps in all of your little math fixing across the board to get there. And of course, you can just scoop it up and rinse and reuse it multiple times if you need to. And onto the supporters, we've got 4 copies of Colress's Experiment. Look at the top 5, take 3 of them to your hand and put 2 in the Lost Zone. So this is a really good way to get, you know, to the magic number of 7 into the Lost Zone. Definitely going to be the supporter you're going to rely on the most. And then of course we've got 1 copy of Research, discard your hand and draw 7. We've got 2 copies of Boss's Orders for our gusting effects. And then we've got 1 copy of Roxanne for the late game, Shuffle Disruption. Each player shuffles their hand to their deck. Your opponent gets 2 cards. You get 6 cards. And, of course, you can only play this if they have 3 or fewer prizes remaining, which can happen, especially if you're trying to fall behind and get the Goodra set up. Roxanne sometimes is a lie, though. And the last supporter is a copy of Raihan. If a Pokemon on your side of the field is knocked out by your opponent from the last turn, then you can attach a basic energy from your discard pile and then search your deck for any card you need. So this is a really good way to come back into the game and also just find whatever missing pieces you're trying to chase down. Items, we got 4 Battle VIP Pass. You can only play this if you're going first, or your first turn if you're going second. Search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon and put them onto your bench and shuffle your deck. This is a really good way to get all of your little bits and pieces that you need down from the deck. And of course, you're most likely going to be able to find it with Colress or Comfey, depending on how your turn structure lays out. And in worst case scenario, it's in the cards that you find from these later in the game. They're just an easy pitch it. Who cares? Next up, we have 2 copies of Quick Ball, just 2, to help find basic Pokemon. In this case, this is most likely going to be for your Lumineon or whatever else you're necessarily missing, so you can add it to your hand instead of benching it with Battle Pass and using its effects. So Lumineon and Zigzagoon are the primal targets here for the Quick Balls. And into the maneuverability, we are playing 3 copies of Escape Rope. Your opponent switches their active Pokemon with one of their benched, and then you get to do the same. So this is going to help you pivot around your Comfeys and, start using flower selecting multiple times. In addition to that, we are playing 2 copies of Switch, just to be able to switch your active with the bench. In addition to that too, though, we have 4 copies of Scoop Up Net to pick up a Pokemon that is not a V or a GX. So in this situation, Comfey, Greninja, Cramorant, or Galarian Zigzagoon, put it in your hand, and then you can re-bench it and reuse it again. This helps you reset all of the flower selecting abilities and potentially even concealed cards or Zigzagoon to get extra pings onto the board. And then we've got the lost piece here, the Mirage Gate. We've got 4 copies. If you have 7 or more cards in the Lost Zone, it's the only way you can play this, but when you do, you can search your deck for 2 different energy types and attach them to your Pokemon any way you like. And of course, we are playing Water and Metal to fulfill Goodra's attack water and of course, those Water will also provide for Greninja and Lumineon. Alright, we've got 1 copy of Ordinary Rod. This is going to be able to put back Pokemon that we might have to discard or lose or get knocked out back into the deck, as well as our basic energy, up to 2 of each shuffled back into the deck. And of course, you lose your energy or you discard it with Greninja, you can go ahead and shuffle it back in with Ordinary Rod and then just get it back out of the deck with the Mirage Gates. And the last 2 items in here are Big Parasol. This deck falls to Amazing Rare Yveltal's Amazing Destruction, which can knock out any Pokemon. So Big Parasol prevents effects of attacks. So you can just keep that going. Of course, this also stops Giratina's V-Star power from knocking out your Goodra, but Giratina doesn't really have too much of a meta share right now. But this is definitely more of a, I'm afraid of Yveltal, please protect my Goodra. And for the stadiums, we're rocking 3 copies of Temple of Sinnoh to shut off the effects of Special Energy. Special Energy are absolutely huge right now. All Special Energies just provide 1 single colorless. When this is in play, no additional effects, so no powerful, no double turbo, no fusion strike energy. All the different amazing rare box versions of Lugia they're playing, the Speed Lightning or Heat Fire, Hiding Dark. Hiding Dark was popular inside of the Eternatus decks for the retreat cost. That also just shuts that off as well. And then into the energy itself, we are rocking 4 basic metal, 5 basic water, and 2 capture to help find Pokemon early game. And of course, you have to keep in mind that Temple will shut off your own capture energy. But yeah, this deck got 27th out of, I want to say, was it 3,100 players in Kyoto at the Champions League? The player, their Twitter handle was OCYA_GW. They posted this over on Twitter. It's got like over 500 likes, and a lot of it's not, out there that people are talking about this list, but this actually feels pretty solid. Lost Goodra was something that was popular when we started playing with Lost Origin cards, and it kind of fell off in favor of Arceus Goodra, which ended up doing well at regionals. But this might be the way to play it now, especially with the Temple. so you can just kind of just counteract all the special energy in the game that's floating around in the meta. But this list is super fun. Gudra's really fun to play. The Lost Engine is super fun to play with these V-Stars like this. But let me know what you think down below in the comments. And of course, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel. You can also become a membership to support the channel. Tiers start as low as 99 cents all the way up to $50 if you want to be a super crazy person. You get extra perks and benefits. All those will be linked down below. And of course, feel free to join the Discord. Let me know what decks you want to see. I posted over in the community tab if you want to see some expanded or some GLC in addition to standard. Let me know what you're thinking about all that stuff. And of course, yeah, I'll see y'all in the next one next week. While we bide time until Crown Zenith and Scarlet and Violet. So yeah, that's it. I'll see y'all next week. Take it easy. Peace.